Welcome back. Look at all those pretty beacons, but I'm not going to beat it yet. We got lots of cleanup to do first. So, I'm going to go to the Shipwreck. So, to get there, I don't know why I didn't think to go there before, because I totally could have. But, you go to the back of the keep, go out this little hole in the wall, and here we are. We're on our way to the Shipwreck now. Big spoiler alert, because in the Shipwreck is like the infamous red door puzzle, which everybody just won't shut up about. But that's because it's really, really hard and stumped everybody. Now down there, do you see it looks like a environmental puzzle, but I don't think I can get it now. I'm not sure, but I think the end of it is there. So maybe it's like I have to drive my boat past it. Anyway, I could beat the game now, but I'm not gonna do that. Also, this looks like it could be an environmental puzzle too. I think that one I definitely need the boat for. Anyway, not gonna beat the game just yet. There's a whole bunch of stuff to do still first, including getting all the environmental puzzles. And I'll use the obelisks to help me along with that. And also, to get a bunch of things in here. I'm hoping this is going to be a short episode, but last time I said that, that wasn't the case. So here's a whole bunch to start with. I just have to get my positioning right. No, not quite. I think once I was basically fooling around here before I made this video to see if I could do this correctly, and I think I found one like good position that allowed me to get all of them. Not bad. Is it further back or is it closer? There we go. I'm gonna get like 3 in a row here. They just kind of circle around this ship. There's one. There's another one. And here's the third one. At least right here. Huh. Snaking around. Voila! Okay, we're gonna press forward on this ship. Was there something down here? Oh, yes. There's a panel down here. And it looks like I want to touch it twice. Whoop. So, like that. And is there anything else up here? I don't recall. I don't think so. It might be good for right now on this section. Okay, we're gonna go to this part of the ship now. Oh, stuck. I'm hung up around the corner. Okay, so as you can see, there was obviously a panel here, in addition to a few environmental puzzles. There's also an environmental puzzle over here, which I need to find the sweet spot for. Almost. Here we go. This is a nice big one. Now this one's glowing green, so it's a completely different obelisk. The other 3 were like, oh damn it. I thought I'd be so good. Let's try. That's too close now. How about that? Let's try this. Also, I only just discovered that I can hold R2 to make it go faster. Somehow, I've not been doing this whole time. I could have saved myself so much time if I had just known about that. But I didn't. Okay, so the big puzzle is in here somewhere. First, there are a few more environmental puzzles that I want to take advantage of, like this. The one sort of created in this rope. Ah, not quite. There we go. Okay, the other one is right here. Cool. There's also an audio log right here. So we'll get that. It's about ships. All about ships. Okay, you're starting to hear that noise. In the meantime, I'm not able to like look at this audio log. Here's the thing. I don't actually know where the red door is. I couldn't find it before when I was looking around. But I hear sounds that lead me to believe I have to be nearby. No? I'm so not reading this audio log. I'll read it along with you guys later. It's something about the sea. I don't know if it's a poem or not. Where is this stupid red door? Why can't I find it? It's literally the only puzzle in here. And yet I can't seem to find it. Oh, that's because there's a lower level. Who knew? Okay, here we are. The infamous red door. You must be held responsible for it. Thank you, William K. Clifford, 1874. Okay, so big spoiler alert because I'm about to do this puzzle. Basically, there's a bunch of components to this puzzle, and I only understand a few of them. And this was spoiled for me because everyone was like all abuzz about it before. So basically, you'll notice that there are big dots, medium-sized dots, and small dots. And just like before, in the jungle, there's a lot of noise in the background. And usually if there's noise in the background, you can probably be pretty sure you probably have to listen to the noise. So listen for the water drops. Low, high, middle. That's the key to this entire puzzle, is low, high, middle. Doesn't matter how much time there is in between them or what the like, even if there's a ton of ambient noise in the background, it's always going to be low, high, middle water drops. So the big hexagons are going to be your low pitches, medium pitches, high pitches. Frankly, I don't really know what the colors have to do with anything. I don't know how the colors factor into this. But the other thing to be aware of is, regardless if you start here or here, you're actually doing a symmetry puzzle that starts up there. So you kind of want to go low, high, middle the entire time. To do that, you have to envision the other side of this puzzle and your symmetrical line. So I just got a low, and look, there's ambient noise. But this is the part I don't really understand. 'Cause I don't know why it matters if they have colors or not. Where's the middle pitch? High. Middle. So here's low. Unfortunately, like, I know the solution, but I don't really understand then why. Even if you're supposed to be listening to the sequence of pitches low, high, middle, I don't understand then why we're going to get, through the use of symmetry, this orange line over here first. Yeah. So then We're going to go up again and get that one in the middle. Then up here. And... Whoops. Not quite. There's the middle. Here's that. Oh, I probably have to go down first and then up. No? Am I screwing this up? Am I totally screwing this up? Oh, I'm not thinking backwards enough. That's why. Maybe I can do that. There we go. Again, I'm not really sure why it works the way it works, because, I mean, I understand the sequence of pictures being low, high, middle, but I don't get what the colors have to do with it, and I just don't understand. But that's a solution, and we got another one of these, which means we're going to have another super long film to watch. Okay. Comes out much brighter on my phone camera. Okay, so we got that. That red door solved. If you want to let me know how the colors might factor into this, if you have any theories on that, or if you just know, please let me know, because I would love to know. I would actually love to know why it works the way it works, barring pitches. Okay, so I'm actually going to go back to the keep now, because while I was off camera, I also rearranged some of those puzzles that you had to walk to make the maze, and then you look at it from on high, because before, like I don't know, like episode 2 or 3, I tried to do environmental puzzles of those, but it wouldn't work because there were obstructions in the way, like these scaffoldings here. So I went ahead and actually rearranged some of these puzzles in a way that would work, so that I can pick up those environmental puzzles on camera. So I'm going to go head up to the main tower and do that. Hello, Guitar Man. There are a lot of stone people in this particular area. Here's the way up. Could you imagine if I got content ID'd for that? My humming. Oh, you caught me on a bandana day, by the way. I'm getting into bandanas. I've always wanted to wear headbands. Anytime we would like... Oh, and look. See? Environmental puzzle. Draw versions of, like, what I might look like in a video game. I always had a headband. I'm so enjoying R2. And the other time, the solution I found originally, I could get this side with. But now that I rearranged it, I can get that side. Cool. Now I'm going to head to the windmill, and hopefully... I think it's going to be a long video, though, because it's a long path to trace. How much time? Oh, there's plenty of time to watch this video. Let's watch it together, folks. Hopefully, it won't be too taxing. I mean, they're very interesting. They're just long and obscure. And I get to understand how they all link together. Oh, there is also an environmental puzzle here. I just have to position myself so that that all comes together. How far away do I need to be? Or do I need to be like right on top of it? There we go. I am the environmental puzzle hunter. Also, all this stuff in this lake actually correspond to your progress in the game. So take a look at my lake. It looks pretty lively. Oh, I want to go to town. That's where I'm headed. To the town! Which I'm so happy to have completed. after many trials and tribulations. Okay, let me get my picture ready for when I go into the windmill. Take me down into the depths. Oh! Oh, there we are. Here we are. Ready to complete another one. Okay. From the middle. All the way around. Did I do it right? Oh no, I didn't do it right. I have to go down one. And then go around. There we go. Hello, sir. Oh, you're just not going to do anything, are you? I love this game, but it's so pretentious sometimes. Oh, goodness. You know what? I'm curious to see. Oh, sweet Jesus. Look how slowly that's going.
Know yourself as the open, empty, luminous presence of awareness.
I'm feeling aware. I'm aware. Is this some kind of like guided meditation thing?
Open, because you say yes unconditionally and indiscriminately to all appearances of the mind, body, and world. Like empty space, you have no mechanism inherent within you that can resist any appearance.
Can I hold R2 down for this?
We don't have to make this the case, it is already the case. Empty.
Oh, God.
Because although you, I, this aware presence,
I'll put a timestamp
is
in the
aware
description of
of
this video
thoughts,
that gets you past this if you want to
sensations,
just skip it for yourself and know exactly where you're
and
going.
perceptions. It is not made out of a thought, a sensation, or a perception. It is made out of pure knowing or
Knowing? Typo?
and luminous. Because just like the sun, relatively speaking,
Guys, I don't
that
know if I can
renders
do it.
all objects.
I don't know if I can do it.
So you, I, this open, empty presence, renders all experience knowable. In fact, we don't really see objects, relatively speaking, illumined by the sun. We just see reflections or modulations of the sun's light,
I mean,
appearing
that's
as a
interesting.
multiplicity and diversity of color.
That isn't actually. I mean, I find
In the
that very
same way,
interesting. That
we
part of
don't
it.
really know the objects of the mind, body, and the world. We just know our knowing of them.
And if you think of this as a reward for
All we
beating one of
know,
the hardest puzzles
all
in the
that is
game,
known
I don't
is the
really
knowing
know what to tell you.
of experience.
Is it that good of an award?
And you are that knowing. that is ever known is a modulation of our own knowing presence, modulating itself in the form of thinking, sensing,
You stumbled over your
and
words, sir.
perceiving, and seeming to become a mind, a body, and a world. But we never actually know a mind, a body, and a world as they are normally conceived. We just know our knowing of them.
We
and
know
this
what
knowing,
we know.
the substance of our experience, the only substance of our experience is ourself. In other words, we know ourself alone. Awareness knows nothing other than itself. Be knowingly this open, empty, luminous presence of awareness. We don't need to do anything special to make this happen. Above all, we don't have to manipulate the mind in any way whatsoever to be this presence of awareness. This presence of awareness, which is simply our self, what we refer to when we say I, is ever present. Just check this in your own experience. Nothing that I am saying this evening, there is nothing that cannot be checked in your own direct experience right now. I bring no special knowledge to this meeting. I don't have a store of knowledge which I am disseminating. I'm just within the limits of language trying to describe the current experience. Ask yourself, do I know anything other than now? Try to experience the not now. Try first to experience the past. It's easy to experience a thought about the past. But what about the actual past to which this thought refers? Try to experience that. Can you step into the past? Can you go 1 second into the past? Or 1 second into the future? Thought can go there. But what about you? Really try to go there to make sure that this is not just an interesting philosophical conversation, but that it is actually your experience.
The lights.
That the past and the future are never experienced. And if the past and the future are never actually experienced, they are only thought about. And that thought about the past and the future is always now.
I may have to check my phone.
If this past and future are never experienced, what does that say about time? Time is a movement between a non-existent past towards a non-existent future. It's a theory, a necessary and valid theory, but a theory that doesn't refer to the reality of our experience. Nobody has ever or could ever experience time. When I say nobody, I mean yourself, awareness, the only one that knows or is aware. When I arrived off the plane from London to in Washington, D.C. last weekend before coming here. The friend who picked me up asked me how the flight was, and she said, "How long did it take?" And I experienced thought being cranked up like an old motor, a little resistant to get going. And for a moment, I could feel the cogs of thought almost moving, trying to work out how much time the flight had taken. Because in my experience, it had been now all the way. I had never left London. London had left me. I had never got onto an aeroplane, a flow of sensations and perceptions that thought abstracts and calls a body in an aeroplane, flowed through me. And I never arrived in Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C. arrived in me, or at least the cluster of perceptions that thought calls Washington, D.C. arrived in me. In the same way, nobody ever walked into this room, and nobody is sitting on a chair, and nobody is listening to a talk. A colorful flow of sensations and perceptions appears in awareness. But awareness never goes anywhere or does anything. It is always here and now, not here a place and now a time. Here, this dimensionless, now this timeless presence of our own being. That is our experience, whether we recognize it or not. Now the mind may feel a little rebellious when it hears this. It may say, yes, 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 that's true, but there is an undeniable continuity to my experience. And this undeniable continuity would seem to be evidence of time. Where does this felt sense of continuity come from? All we know of the mind is the current thought or image. And thoughts and images are intermittent. The body is known through sensation, and all sensations are intermittent. All we know of the world is perception, that is, sights, sounds, tastes, textures, and smells. In fact, nobody has ever experienced a world as such, a world as it is normally conceived to be. We just know the current perception. And all perception is intermittent. So if the so-called mind are intermittent, from where does this felt sense of continuity
10 minutes.
come from? It comes from the only thing, if we can call it a thing, that is truly continuous, or in fact not continuous, but ever present now in our experience, and that is our own being, the presence of awareness. The presence of awareness is the only thing that is known to be ever present. Now the mind knows nothing of awareness because the mind only knows apparent objects. So when the mind looks at experience to find what it is, that accounts for continuity. It cannot see awareness, and so it manufactures a substance called time to account for the continuity of experience. In other words, continuity in time is what eternity looks like when viewed through the narrow slit of the mind. Permanence in space is what the infinite, unlimited nature of awareness looks like when viewed through the narrow slit of the mind. Continuity and permanence are pale reflections at the level of the mind of the true, eternal and infinite nature of awareness, that is, of our self.
I'll take some too.
What else can we say about ourself from our actual experience? Which means right now, what can we know for certain about ourself? Not what thought may tell us about ourself, but what we actually know in this moment, derived only from our experience of ourself. Ask yourself, can I, this open, empty, knowing presence, can I be agitated? Thought can be agitated. Sensations, or the body, can be agitated. The world can be agitated. But what about you, the one that knows the apparent mind, body, and world? Can you, this open, empty presence, be agitated?
So much for trying to make this a short episode. I should have known this was coming.
In your experience right now,
I thought the Italian film would be the longest of them.
And this, of course, is just an image. I like an open, empty space, such as the space of this room. Nothing that appears within this room can agitate it. We are all sitting peacefully now, but if we were to stand up and start dancing or fighting, would the space of this room become agitated? You, I like that. You, I, the presence of awareness, are undisturbable, imperturbable. We don't need to become imperturbable, and this undisturbability of ourself is not dependent upon the condition of the mind. Right now, you, awareness, are utterly imperturbable, and for this reason, another name for ourself is peace. Peace is not a quality that ourself has, it is what ourself is. Not peace of mind. Minds are more or less agitated. This peace that passeth understanding, that is not of the mind. It doesn't have to be sought, it is not hiding in the background of experience. This very awareness that is seeing, hearing, knowing, is pure peace itself, shining in all experience, however apparently agitated that experience may be. Ask yourself, Can I, this presence of awareness, ever lack something? Thoughts can say that something is missing. Feelings can say that something is missing. But what about you? Without referring to thought or feeling, is there the slightest motive in you to avoid the now and replace it with the not now? See that in yourself, this presence of awareness, there is not the slightest impulse or possibility to avoid the now. And what do we call this absolute absence of resistance to the now? The absolute absence of resisting what is and seeking what is not. What is the common name we give to this? It is called happiness. We all know that when we are happy, we are by definition not resisting the now and seeking in the past or the future. By happiness, of course, I do not mean a pleasant state of the mind or the body. I mean this absolute impossibility of ourself ever to resist or seek. To resist what is and to seek what is not. So happiness, like peace, is just another name for ourself.
I am happiness, I guess.
It is not a quality that ourself has. It is what ourself is.
We're getting there. We're getting there.
What else can we say for certain based on this current experience about ourselves?
Water break.
When I was driving here, or being driven here, the day before yesterday, from the airport in San Francisco, I was looking in the wing mirror of the passenger seat, and I noticed the words inscribed at the bottom of the wing mirror. And they said, "Objects in the mirror are closer than you think." A statement of pure non-duality. Objects
Philosophy
that appear
jokes.
in the mirror of consciousness are closer than we think. How close to a mirror are the objects that appear in it? Are there in fact two things? One, the objects that appear in the mirror, and two, the mirror? Or is it all just mirror? All we know of the apparent mind is the experience of thinking. And thinking is just a modulation of yourself, a modulation of knowing or awareness. All we know of the apparent body is the experience of sensing. And sensing is a modulation of yourself, awareness. All we know of the apparent world is the experience of seeing, hearing, touching, tasting, and smelling. These are all modulations of knowing, modulations of ourself. In other words, we never truly know a mind or a body or a world. These labels are just abstractions that thought superimposes on the intimacy of our experience. From the point of view of experience, which is the only real point of view, experience is much closer, much more intimate. So close as to not admit the possibility of two things. One, myself, awareness, and two, the object that I know. Even that is an abstraction. It may be a useful stepping stone, a halfway understanding to conceive of thoughts, sensations, and perceptions arising in awareness. But nothing arises in awareness. The only substance of all experience, the only substance of thinking, sensing, and perceiving is already awareness. What do we call this absolute absence of two things? A subject that knows and an object that is known. Take now the experience of hearing. Go to the sound of the air conditioning. Forget about the labels sound and air conditioning. Our only knowledge of the apparent air conditioning is the experience of hearing. How close does hearing take place to you? 5 meters away? 10 meters away? Refer only to your experience, not to what thought tells you about sound. Where is hearing?
This video is going to literally be a half hour long.
Is it close? Intimate?
So much for a short video. Oops.
And in the experience of hearing, can you find two parts? One part that hears, and another part that is heard? Or is it just one seamless, intimate substance called myself? And what about this room? Thought says, I, the inside self in here, sees the room, the outside world, out there. But what does experience say? All we know of the apparent room is the experience of seeing. Remove seeing, and the room vanishes. In other words, we don't know a room. We just know the experience of seeing. Does seeing take place 5, 10, 15 meters away from yourself? Or is seeing utterly intimate? And can you find two parts to the experience of seeing? One part that sees, and another part that is seen? Or is it just one seamless, intimate substance? And what is the name, the common name we give to the absolute intimacy of all experience? It is called love. Love is the most familiar experience that we all know, the collapse or dissolution of the sense of a self in here and an object, other, or world out there. The collapse of this sense of separateness, distance, otherness, not me-ness, is what we call love. love is just another name for non-duality. If we call it non-duality, there's just a few thousand of us in the world that are interested in it. But if we call it love, or peace, or happiness, then all 7 billion of us are interested in it. So why is it, if love, peace, happiness are the natural condition of all experience, the substance out of which all experience is made, how is it that it seems not to be experienced? It is because of a single thought that rises in awareness, made only of awareness, which imagines that awareness shares the limits of the thoughts, feelings, and sensations that appear within it. It is like imagining that a mirror shares the limits of the objects that appear in it. With that thought alone, the ever-present, unlimited awareness, which is what we are, seems to acquire or take on the apparent limits of the body and the mind, just as the screen seems to take on the limits of an image when a film begins. As a result of this imaginary collapse or contraction of our self, unlimited, eternal awareness into a body and a mind, these qualities of love, peace, and happiness are seemingly veiled. And it is for this reason that the self, the separate self that thought imagines us to be, is always, by definition, on a search in the imaginary outside world for the apparently lost love, peace, and happiness. However, this imaginary inside self cannot, by definition, find the love that it seeks, because its very presence, its apparent presence, is the veiling of that love. All the separate self seeks is love. In fact, the separate self is not an entity that searches, it is the activity of resisting the now and seeking the not now. All this seeking ever wants is love. But love is the dissolution of this seeking, the dissolution of this imaginary self. In other words, the separate self that seeks love is like a moth that seeks a flame. The flame is all the moth wants, but it is the only thing it cannot have. Because as the moth touches the flame, it dies. That is its way of knowing the flame. It becomes the flame as it touches it. That is the separate self's way of finding love, by dying in it. The death or dissolution of the separate self is the experience of love. simply be knowingly this open, empty, luminous presence of awareness, whose nature, whose inherent nature is love, peace, and happiness. Not a love, peace, and happiness that is in the background of experience that has to be sought, but that is shining in full view at the heart of all experience. In fact, experience is made out of this substance called peace or happiness.
Did I make it? That was actually a half hour long. It's actually more than a half hour, looking at the time clock on my recording device. Okay, well, once again, I was tricked by the game into thinking something would take a very short time, but then it took a very long time. Whoops. So yeah, in the next few episodes, I'm going to be completing the obelisk to the best of my ability. However, there are a few things, apparently, that I cannot do until I actually beat the game. But I can do the caves before that, and I can do as many environmental puzzles as I can squeeze in. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to make it up to the mountain up there. So I will do the obelisks one by one, and since we are in the desert, perhaps I'll start next video with the desert obelisk, which is right here, which I've actually completed quite a bit of. Looks like I've got all of this side so far. Looks like there's a whole bunch on this side that I need to get still. This side looks good. That side looks good. As does that one. You know what? This will be a great one to start with, because it's just like these little ones right here. Okay, I'll see you next time, and I'll try and keep the briefcase videos to an absolute minimum. Bye.